In last year's budget speech, Manitoba Finance Minister Adrian Sala affirmed the Manitoba NDP government's commitment to searching the landfill for the remains of Indigenous women. And this year, in his budget speech, he acknowledged that the remains of Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron have been found. Today, here at the Manitoba Legislature, the province unveiled Manitoba's 2025 budget. But what does this budget mean for Indigenous peoples in Manitoba? Well, let's start with some economic commitments. So one of the major announcements was that there's going to be a new gold mine in Lynn Lake, Manitoba. And the province says they're hoping to do this in partnership with First Nations. And while those details haven't been revealed, the province said that this announcement will be coming in the coming weeks. There's also 3 Indigenous economic partnerships, which includes the Indigenous Economic Development Program, the Indigenous Economic Reconciliation Strategy, and the Indigenous Loan Guarantee Program. The province is also moving forward with the controversial Lake Manitoba Lake St. Martin Outlet Channels project and continuing to expand Northern Rail and the Port of Churchill. Moving on to healthcare, the province plans to bring midwifery into Northern First Nations, bring dialysis into the Norway House Cree Nation, and work with the SEO on creating a downtown health center. There's also plans for a mobile MRI, which will be moving across northern communities. And the province also plans to invest $1.3 million in creating the first Indigenous-led supervised consumption site in Canada. And on the education front, there's lots of plans to invest in Indigenous language classes, land-based curriculum, treaty education, and hosting elders and knowledge keepers in schools. There was also an entire section dedicated to poverty reduction, and that includes a $73.4 million investment into the province's homelessness strategy. And they're also continuing the Minawega Ikoyag strategy to help empower and protect Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirits. Now, while they're continuing that program, there was no new investment in this year's budgets. Finally, the province is launching new legislation called Giwe, which means he or she comes home in Anishinaabe woman. This legislation will ensure that Indigenous nations can protect, access, and repatriate their ancestral human remains and sacred entities. We're told that more information on this new legislation will be coming out soon. We'll be covering these commitments as they come out, and we'll have more on our newscast in the coming weeks. Sierra Bettens, APTN National News, Winnipeg.